We're entering the boring weekend. It's very important to understand what will be happening moving further. Are we going actually over, maybe to the bottoms of the range? Are we going to $53,000 per Bitcoin? What actually is going to happen next with this crypto market? What is happening with meme coins? Where you should be positioning yourself in order to seize the opportunity of capitalizing heavily in the current market as well? And is the bull market over? Is the bull market over? Ask this question to yourself. Let's actually figure these things out and find out what is the best actions that you can actually be making in the current market and what the actions that I am performing myself as well. Without further ado, let's actually start. First of all, I wanted to start with Indian Blast. We are in a deep till $19 million at this stage. As mentioned by me, through the largest liquidation event, the second largest since FTX. 0.19 is a golden level. It holds, and this is a nice level to get in, and this is the nice level to buy. When accumulating these type of assets, you usually want to accumulate closer to the bottoms of the range. Our bottom of our range at this stage is 0.19. I do think that certain holders are selling because they might be seeing some other things pumping. At the same time, a lot of the things that are pumping, they're correcting heavily. Currently going into this weekend, and people thinking that we actually got rejected from $75,000 per BTC, and I'm saying this way before the dump actually happened. $75,000 is the target. We are going there. Nothing is changing. We are going to that target per BTC, and we supposedly have the launch of Ethereum ETF next week. And Indian Blast is a premier Ethereum beta. It's based on Ethereum layer 2 and it's paired to Ethereum on the DEX as well. I do believe that this thing will be doing quite well short term. And mostly I think we have some smaller holders currently selling, trying to reposition, trying to buy into green candles. That's essentially up to them. I'm holding all of my supply. I'm holding all of my tokens. That's such a comfy hold. If you were thinking on getting into the token and acquiring the position as well, as mentioned, 0.19 is your level. We touched it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7, 8, 9, almost 11 times. We touched this 0.19 level. It's a very strong support level, and we should continue holding it with the market in favor. And I do expect for market to actually be in favor as well. Speaking about our Bitcoin structure at this stage, we definitely got rejected from $65,000 level, and we went down and we broke through this upward trend line as well. It's quite important for us to quickly get above this level and try to break it through one more time, but I'm quite confident it will be happening. And the main thing I'm actually focusing is the liquidation map as well. As mentioned, that's not a 100% tool because it just shows the situation on Binance, so not on all of the exchanges. You can check out all of the exchanges as well, but I'm just checking out the situation on Binance. But it still helps us to understand what is happening with the market. And we see that there is a huge liquidation level at $63,000. And we can definitely see that not a lot of people are staying in shorts right here, like not a lot of liquidity right here. At the same time, we have to understand there is so much liquidity at $72,000 shorts per Bitcoin at this stage. I'm confidently thinking that we're going higher to $75,000 per Bitcoin in upcoming 3 to 4 weeks, most likely. There is so many fundamental bullish events that are actually happening on the marketplace currently. I would like to share some of them. Ansem actually made his profile private, so you can only check out tweets from Ansem profile through me at this stage, which is interesting utility for the channel if you think about that. What? Huge breaking. Trump to announce a USA Bitcoin strategic reserve in Nashville. Sources. PS. This is not a joke. My sources are credible. If this would be happening, this would just be crazy. Very crazy. Like it will just send us to Valhalla. And honestly, based on my understanding of the charts and based on the things that I see in the charts, this is something that honestly should be happening. We are due for a god green candle that will just simply not allow people to enter. Not allowed to enter 100%. There are so many people sidelined, so many people sold. Alts, they're just still at the bottoms. Memes, some are running, but what we have happening with memes currently is that people that missed the bottom, they were too scared to buy the bottom, they are FOMOing in. into the memes, and people who bought the bottom, they're taking profits and they're repositioning to some other things as well. We still don't have a lot of liquidity currently in the memes, which is a very, very interesting situation as well. There is no liquidity inflow from majors into memes. Alts are quite dead as well. We'll talk about this in this video today. It's a very, very important thing to understand in order to position properly in this market and in order to win in this short term as well. If rumors of Trump announcing a policy to have Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, we are all not bullish enough. Imagine the USA buying Bitcoin, lol. This is something I was sharing yesterday. I think us as humans, we do not understand what's coming. We do not understand what actually might be coming for this market. I will be sharing some things on this in other tweets as well, but it's just crazy. You need to understand who is actually pumping your bags. People like Trump, Cuba, Diamond, and Fink don't bull post without inside info. This is such an important thought, because a lot of your influencers, especially the larger ones, they have the audience already and they care about their social proof, social status, social capital. They cannot be pushing some garbage if they don't have inside information. The same thing these people are doing as well. They are billionaires. They are well known. They don't bull post without insider info. They won't be sharing. Like Trump might be just earning social capital by bull posting and bull screaming about Bitcoin at this stage, because he knows what's coming, because he understands these things. He's an older guy. He's been in the markets through whole his life. He definitely understands this stuff and definitely have insights on this as well. Some things about the current situation. We have a crazy IT outages around the world. Airplanes cannot fly, airports cannot operate properly. I will be sharing some info on that. Microsoft's operating system does not work on certain devices, and stocks of certain companies that essentially have these infrastructures that are going down already. And a lot of people are scared in crypto about how it can actually influence the market as well. In a certain way, it definitely can. Personally, it's even a more bullish case for crypto in the first place because of the way the whole thing is decentralized. It just works. You don't need, like, you are pretty much resilient to any type of attacks, any type of hacks, any type of issues as well. Because if something breaks, blockchain will just not approve the block and just will move with the blocks that are proper, that are valid. Breaking. Prominent security consultant Troy Hunt says this will be the largest IT outage in history. And this is basically what we were all worried about with year 2000 problem, except it's actually happened this time. These are just some projections. Situation is pretty alright. We will see how it will be developing moving further. The Microsoft CrowdStrike outage has taken down most airports in India. I got my first handwritten boarding pass today. Very, very interesting. It's kind of like coming back in time. Handwritten boarding passes. Please stay safe if you're flying airplanes currently, because if they cannot do these things currently, well, probably because if they cannot do these things currently, there might be certain issues with operating the planes in the air as well, especially with landing, right? Speaking about and coming back to meme coins, we definitely have the meta of meme coins that are cults. And Connor was the person who actually was calling Mog very, very early. He was calling retarded very, very early as well, like when we were pretty much consolidating in $20 million range. He definitely has this tingle on spotting the memes that are cults in the first place. He's also speaking about ticker Bitcoin, which is quite large at this stage. Speaking of the amount of liquidity, I think it's around 100 million market cap, but the amount of liquidity that they have, like, I think is at $10 million. If you would have Solana Memecoin with $10 million of liquidity, it will be in billions already. Lock-in, it's an interesting meme coin on Solana as well, that essentially is about being locked in, being in the market, not spending time on some stupid shit, right? And Giga, which is this cult meme coin about GigaChat, and we also have Sigma at this stage. Sigma is actually quite an interesting beta play currently. It's at $10 million market cap. I think it did a 2x just recently. It might be a pretty nice pick to actually kind of decryed this Giga meta in the first place. I was actually thinking on entering some myself. Unfortunately, did a 2x in a day from yesterday, so we will see how it will be developing. Obviously, I would want to enter on the correction, but as a lot of other people in the market, they would obviously want to enter on the correction. So we will see what will be happening with that one. If you're shorting, here, seek God. A very, very interesting comment for people who are shorting from, because they pretty much think that we just got rejected from the top of the range, from $65,000 per BTC. So probably we are going into the bottom of the range. So that's what we're shorting. Too many bullish things are happening. And from one point of view, it's also like, it's too obvious. It's too obvious to kind of short here. They're just telling you like, please short, please. It's like perfect setup, just short. My overview of the market is that we will have chop through the weekend. Then it's very, very interesting what's going to happen on Monday. I think it will depend on the amount of liquidity that will be locked in either shorts or longs, in terms of which way it will be more beneficial for them, like short-term price action to make some money to liquidate some people. Honestly, as I'm expecting a further pump in the middle of next week, I would expect a dump maybe on Sunday, Monday. Probably not a huge one, but we will see what will be happening. People are definitely de-risking already. We see it by the price action in certain meme coins. Some of them I already showed to you. People are definitely scared to a certain extent, so they might be overrunning the price action. And speaking of leverage, like there is still not a lot of leverage opened at this stage. People are afraid to enter either shorts or longs, which is a very, very interesting situation in the marketplace currently. Carl the Moon, large influencer, crypto influencer from previous cycle, saying that despite yesterday's price drop, BTC is still trading with this symmetrical triangle. He was wrong many times with his projections on BTC. At the same time, he has loaned from $16,000 Bitcoin with size 100%. So you might be wrong, but if you have loaned from $60,000 Bitcoin with size, who the fuck cares, right? So we were pretty much showing like this pattern we should be breaking out, and interestingly that following this pattern we might actually further go down to the end of the pattern, which will definitely drop the price into low 60s, probably even higher 50s for Bitcoin. We'll see. What is this time frame? It's 1 hour. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's 1 hour time frame. So following this pattern, the dump on Sunday and Monday might definitely make sense. Liquidate all these early loans, maybe liquidate some earlier loans with the assets that didn't push much, and just shoot up the rocket right after that. Very interesting situation. Something wrong with my tweets. I'm sorry guys. Microsoft Windows users right now. That's pretty much just a joke that Windows does not open. Let me actually know, because I'm not using Windows much. Let me know if you actually experienced these type of outages in your personal devices as well, because I don't think I experienced them myself. Something I was showing yesterday as well, 10 Ethereum ETF will be launched in 4 days. Just a piece of bullish news. And as mentioned, the fact that people think that inflows will be low or outflows will be huge from Grayscale, and that's why they're bearish, is bullish. It's very, very bullish sentiment-wise for the whole thing. My ideal scenario for crypto market: sideways, last dip to 54K, Fed cut rate in FOMC 18 September meeting, hard K in Q4 2025. Well, an interesting take, last dip to 54K. We will see if this will be happening. It's quite interesting that this last dip probably would even scare a lot more people, because currently, like, it's already bullish, people are tired, everyone is still scared. Deep to 54K, it's quite interesting. At the same time, a lot of the assets, they're oversold already, and like this dip, it will definitely help to shake out late longs or longs that just were entered with a bad entry point into the market. And this scenario, I would say it's too obvious, like sideways, deep to 54. I do think that a lot of people are actually thinking the same at this stage. For some reason, I want to, like, internally, I want to actually provide larger price projections per BTC in Q4. At the same time, I don't care much about BTC. So my price projections per BTC, they mostly illustrate the state of the altcoin market, and they mostly illustrate the Bitcoin dominance. I would expect Bitcoin dominance to be lower at the end of this year in Q4 than it's currently, right? I would expect the risk on environment to be on in the market, and essentially people transitioning from larger majors to the smaller cap, something that we are seeing in the stock market already. Breaking rumors growing that Trump will announce a Bitcoin strategic reserve policy for the United States next week. I will be showing a video of Trump speaking as well, and he specifically sharing that 50 million voters who hold crypto in the United States, that's a huge chunk of population. That definitely makes sense to be pro-crypto. You're just farming votes, just free votes for you. After everything that Democrats essentially did, that's a very interesting thing, because it's kind of like just these votes that you just need to pick up from the floor. It's very, very easy. Good morning. Ethereum ETF should be approved, and at the same time, like, you don't want to block the innovation from your country. And we have a very, very interesting thing, because I think I was reading an article saying that US historically was essentially assigning these financial things a bit later than the whole world. I think I was reading something about London Stock Exchange and innovations in UK that happened, and US only adopted them like 5 or 7 years later, which was happening at the early zeros, like 2000s, right? It's very, very interesting that US kind of lagging on this thing, but it's lagging for too long. BTC is not the technology that appeared yesterday. It's a technology that is for 15 years on the marketplace currently. It's proven because there are governments already that pretty much are being ran on blockchain. They use blockchain as a database already. It's decentralized, it's nice. Obviously, they have a certain way of centralization because the government and they need to control things and they don't need to make it like fully decentralized. It's probably proof of authority in the first place, right? A very, very interesting situation from that point of view, but it's definitely a time for US to take this innovation because when you kind of lead in the world, you have this advantage of not actually need to test out different things in the first place, like being first and testing them. You may allow other nations to test them out, and since you're larger, since you're bigger, you can take what works. You can take a narrative that proved on the marketplace, steal it, right? And do something yourself because you have larger coverage, you have larger resources, and at a certain stage, at a certain point, it will work quite well, right? Good morning. Ethereum ETF should be approved today and start trading on Tuesday, sending Pepe flying. I can say one thing. Market makers on Pepe, Wintermute, they're definitely doing hard work, very, very nice work on making sure, on persuading the market that Pepe is Ethereum beta. It's moving with Ethereum on purpose. Anyone who pretty much was following Pepe and know things about the market sees that they deliberately pump it with each pump of Ethereum to prove, to persuade the market that this is Ethereum beta. So they're working through it currently to make sure that more and more people will essentially convert into this opinion and they will stop needing the same amount of resources to push it with each and every pump of Ethereum. That's a very, very interesting thing. Like it's a very, very interesting strategy that they are applying at this stage. The next Bitcoin breakout is very close now. All the price targets are discussed in my pinned tweet. So it's pretty much the same type of pattern that Carl the Moon is printing himself on the chart of BTC. We definitely can see that. And I'm not expecting personally for BTC to break out downward. I don't think it makes much sense at this stage. Maybe it might be like a fake breakout downward, which would be a very, very interesting situation. It would be a very, very interesting manipulation as well. It probably send a lot of alts, a lot of memes very, very low. It probably will close a bunch of longs as well. In general, it will be just a nice piece of manipulation before the final pump. We will see if this will be happening. It will all depend on how bullish people will be in the market and how much more longs will be opened. And please, don't open longs. Don't open longs. Be bearish. If you're opening longs, just open them in silence. Market makers can still see your thing, but if you're not vocal, if you're not sharing, there are just higher chances that we won't get dumped, right? Bitcoin is forming a bullish inverse head and shoulders pattern. Target $76,000. The reason I'm showing that is because the target is quite close to my target as well. And my target I provided through the largest liquidation event after the FTX. And right now it's being picked up by other people in the market. That's why I'm sharing that as well. You might get information, right? Or you might get information early because essentially I provided this target 2 weeks ago, right? And right now we are in the course. We are going there. Bitcoin come before the storm. Already showed that. Crypto the day after Trump wins the election. This is just something I wanted to share. The guy is just sending all the coins into the stratosphere, right? BlackRock is eating the entire Bitcoin ETF market. Don't bet against Larry Fink. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting thing is because if you are short in BTC, well, short term might make sense if you know what you are doing. Longer term, you're pretty much betting against BlackRock, against Larry Fink, and something I was showing in my Twitter as well, in my X yesterday as well. They are not setting things up this way. They are not cleaning this lane to take off for many, many years. For things to essentially give them 10 billions, 100 billions, hundreds of billions. The talk is pretty much going around trillions. The only issue is that the thought process I have internally is that current cycle might be just preparation for the larger takeover in the next cycle. Because we definitely see things only kickstarting currently. It will definitely pump the industry 100%. However, like largest, it will depend on how fast they would want to conclude the operation. Maybe they will be rushing. And if they will be rushing, if we'll be seeing crazy numbers this cycle, as I think we will actually be seeing. You need to think why and what will happen next. It's very, very important thought. Why they will be rushing, if they will be rushing. Anyway, I think right now we're quite safe, and they're removing so much uncertainty. They're doing so much things. These people, like, they're not talking without insights, 100%. They're farming social capital because they have insights, and on top of it, they just understand the market. They just understand people who are doing things that they're doing because they're probably quite close to them. This might be your last week to be properly positioned to retard you. This is something that I wanted to share as well, and pretty much I was sharing it yesterday. And it's actually nice to share tweets with the thoughts that I was sharing in my previous videos as well. That pretty much came later. Very, very nice. It's probably the only case where you are receiving alpha before it even shared on Twitter, because these people, they comment to my thoughts after I voice them. I agree with this 100%. This might be one of your last weeks to actually position yourself in the market currently. If you don't want to go on leverage, just buy spot, just be positioned. As mentioned in one of my previous videos, it's way more degenerate currently to be out of the market than being in the market. Way more degenerate. I could not fathom the stress if I would be positioned out of the market currently. Just in, Tyler and Cameron Willington was donated 16 BTC worth $1 million to pro-Bitcoin candidate trying to replace Elizabeth Warren as a US senator. Well, like, all these pieces of the puzzle, they just work. And like, these people, they're definitely pushing certain agenda. They're definitely doing something. The cable is working for my backs. Yeah, just to sum up everything that I wanted to share, all these people, they're working for our backs. They're not working for them without any reason. They're working because they're positioned. They're working because they have insights. They are farming social capital. They're working because, to a certain extent, they're also decriing larger players. Probably the largest player here is BlackRock. At the same time, obviously, Trump, which might become next president, is definitely a large player here as well, but probably he's just partnered up with some parties out there. He probably can do things like that himself. He's a degen and know how to pump our backs. Let's listen to this quick piece of video currently.
I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
You can definitely say that he's farming for votes. He's saying that for 50 million crypto holders, I will do that with your vote. So it's a very, very simple type of deal. He's a businessman, right? You vote for me, I will do this for you. Will he do that? Probably early on, markets will just pump based on these promises, right? Will he actually do that? Who gives a fuck? We will be out of the market probably by that time already. Probably by mid of 2025, end of 2025. End of 2025 is quite risky. You want to be out of the market, right? Believe in something with. Just something I wanted to share. Maybe this is just one of the words of this guy, but yeah, it's pretty much just with, which is quite funny. Just interesting thing to share that. And it's truly like with proper tokens, with proper projects, and in general with any projects, you cannot capitulate heavily in crypto if you don't believe in something very, very early on, when not a lot of people actually believe in something. That's a very, very important thing in order to actually be able to capitulate, because the early on, you're actually believing in something, the larger percentage of returns will be over time. Like, you cannot get a 100x if you don't believe in something early on. That's the main thing out there. America is so back. Kid Rock jumps out at RNC ahead of Trump. Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit came and nobody wants to hear your old ass scene no more. I know some lore that's essentially from Eminem D's in the direction of Everlast, right? I was not listening to Kid Rock a lot. I was listening more to Limp Bizkit. Everlast I love as well. It's just pure America, especially like older things, recent things. They're very, very good. We are literally all going to make it. Can you imagine what happens to crypto once Donald becomes president again? Listen to this and try not to be bullish. I just shared this piece with you. When the full easy mode bull comes, this current bull market will feel like a bear. You are not ready. Something I was sharing in my yesterday video as well. I just love people agreeing with me and people that I actually respect, that I admire as good traders on the market, understanding things that are happening. That's a very, very nice confirmation bias to have. Why would you not go max leverage on life at a young age and risk it all? You're probably going to die sooner than you think anyways. Throw yourself out there. Well, that's essentially up to you. Just wanted to share that. Utility coins starting to move again. A few weeks ago, it felt like they were gone for good. That was your signal to beat. Always when something called that in crypto, and when you assess the opportunity, when you check everything out, when you check out the community, check out the team, check out what's happening, check out what's happening on the market, what's going to happen on the market. If something is called that, that should be the first way for you to allocate some mental resources to figure out if there is the opportunity right there. What is happening right there if something is called that? Because if something is called that, it's probably flooded, it's probably oversold, that's probably something that have certain upside in it. You cash some money into real life and you will understand how much it's actually worth. Most of you are fucking balling and you don't even know. You could live like kings in 70% of the world and never work again, but you're in an expensive city living in some shitty basement. That's essentially about Memecoin traders not owning any Memecoin in 2024. Red flags. Man, there's still a lot of people that don't have any meme coins. And they're essentially guys from previous cycle that have a lot of liquidity. And they're just sitting in the same things that they were sitting through in the last cycle. They're not doing much. It's so crazy. They definitely have so much liquidity. Will we get our capitulation to meme coins? They're not capitulating currently, but I will say to you what would be the validation or invalidation of the fact of whether or not they will capitulate. Right now, the coins are not pumping, but meme coins, they definitely see them as risky. They definitely see them correcting and things like that. Meme coins will perform the best in the real bull run. Like bull run is not bull market, bull run. It's the part when we have this explosive move. And real capitulation will be happening when their coins will finally start to move, but they will heavily underperform meme coins. And this is when the capitulation will come. And it should be also paired with the fact of us reaching the end of the cycle. So some around peak euphoria, some around that, they would start thinking, man, I was in the cycle all this time. I was active. I was watching up the market. I heavily underperformed. Would I just bought this coin that Stan was shilling to me, I would be up so much currently. Yeah, my things did something, but they pretty much performed similar to stock market. From one point of view, it's right, but I heavily underperformed this cycle. We're probably closer to the end. We're probably closer to euphoria. And these feelings, this FOMO, these bad feelings internally, it will essentially force them to capitulate. And certain capitulation is going on the way as well, 100%. So we will be seeing if this will be happening. If this won't be happening, that would essentially invalidate the theory. And it's very important for the memes to continue to perform as well, because if at a certain point they will just stop to do well, for these guys essentially they will also decide just not to invest in them. But it's a very high chance of happening. That's why, like I'm saying, that we have crazy liquidity inflows, crazy liquidity events right now. As mentioned, the liquidity is coming to meme coins, is that people that were selling memes into the dump, and they did not rebuy at the bottom because of fear, so they're rebuying higher. This is the liquidity that's been used to pump memes currently. We did not have liquidity coming from majors into memes yet. We did not have liquidity coming from people capitulating on alts into memes vastly yet. We did not have liquidity from retail. You need to understand all these things. You need to understand how well you're fucking positioned if you are in the assets that will actually be surviving till the end of the cycle, that actually will be relevant. And honestly, I think that currently everyone is screaming there are too much tokens, too much dilution and things like that for projects that are being run properly. I'm saying you 100%. There will be too much liquidity and there will be not enough projects, 100%. The same way as it was happening at the end of the last cycle. And this would actually be one of the marks for the top as well. Because venture capitalists at the end of the last cycle, they were just throwing money at some scene, like gaming scene created in Unity, Unreal Engine, with predefined assets like in 15 minutes. They were throwing millions into that thing because they understood that people will be buying this thing because it was just a euphoric type of situation right there. You will be fucking rich for Christmas, right? So this is something I do think might be happening if you're in the right assets, but in general, everything should be pumping. A lot of you seek the attention of rich people to try to get a crumb of alpha. This is a very important thought. Listen to this. The irony is that in order to figure out the meme coin super cycle, you need to talk to poor people, trench warriors and cultists. This cycle is different. A lot of guys with a bunch of liquidity. That's something I actually faced first in the Neo Tokyo, because I joined Neo Tokyo around like December, I think, last year, right? So like 8 months ago. I saw a bunch of guys with a bunch of liquidity from previous cycle. They were just fine. They were just okay. They were just sitting in their assets. They did not give a shit. They did not have this urge in them to make it, because they treat this game differently, and they should be treating the game differently because they have a different amount of liquidity, right? And guys who actually trying to make it, like all these trench warriors, all these Solana guys, they are with the purest alpha in this cycle. The main reason for that is because they are trying to make it. If you are also trying to make it currently, you should be following people who are trying to make it, or at least behave as trying to make it, because they constantly look for opportunity. They constantly look to increase the amount of money that they have. We can even see transition happening in between current people in the marketplace. Certain people that made it already, they're not that active. They're not looking for opportunities. They're not like launching new stuff. They're not pushing new stuff. They're not that active simply because they made it already. They just don't give a shit anymore. At this stage, it's a very, very important thing. If you're trying to make it, you need to listen and follow to people who are trying to make it, or essentially in the process of making money in the cycle as well. Meme coins are about to explode like we've never seen before. Get ready. This is from 2 days ago, and after that we just got a dip. That was a good bull run. See you in 4 years. So Sensei tweets, I used to show them a lot on this channel, but yeah, he's kind of like joking, changing his opinions. Interesting type of behavior, 100%. So this will finalize the current setup, the current situation. As mentioned, the price action I'm expecting for the general market is sideways through the weekend. A potential dump Sunday, Monday. I would be bullish if we would be dumping on Sunday, Monday. That will be additional time to accumulate. And if we would be dumping harshly, I might actually finally put new cash into the market, because I did not do it at the bottom, despite the fact I actually wanted to. Maybe I will be doing it currently. And I would expect us to pump in the mid of the next week, and essentially midterm price action is $75,000 per BTC, which should be sending Ethereum to all-time highs, Solana to all-time highs, Ethereum all-time highs, kicking off the alt season and all this good stuff as well. Man, I do actually think that still alts might outperform memes at a certain point of time, just because they're dead. At the same time, it's quite hard to say, because a lot of memes are actually popping up on the market, like on the market on a daily basis, and some of them they are going quite high. And obviously if they just popped up and they are going quite high, they are outperforming everything that's there on the marketplace currently right now, right? Thank you very much for watching this video. I will be seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye.